In this cold season, there's nothing better than a warm, hearty meal. And here I'm going to show you how to make a traditional lamb stew. Let's get to it. Ingredients in the description below, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. Start by dicing your onions. You want to dice them in big square chunks. Do the same thing with your carrots as well, cutting them in large chunks. Then crush a few cloves of garlic and set them aside. You only need a little bit of rosemary, so just chop it very fine and set aside a bay leaf. In a bowl, add in all your diced lamb, to which you're going to add a tablespoon of flour. Corn flour can work as well. And you're going to mix that thoroughly. We're going to add a bit of a crust to the lamb and to help it get some color when we fry them. Bring a tablespoon of oil at high heat into a pan or pot and fry your meat in batches if you need, up until they get a really nice brown color like this. Then remove your meat from the pan, and to that same pan you can now add all your vegetables. If your oil has dried up and there is no more fat left from the lamb, you can add a tablespoon of oil if you need. Then fry them until get a really nice color. Then add your meat back as well as any juices left in the plate. It's on medium to medium low heat. Mix all the contents of your pot really well. Now going to add your stock. Ideally use something like lamb or beef stock. You can also add some wine if you want. And then a tablespoon of tomato paste and mix everything thoroughly. By adding your liquid, you can now deglaze the bottom of your pan. So just make sure that you really mix well, rubbing the bottom of your pan to make sure that nothing really catches the pan. Add a tomato cut in quarters and also a really nice pinch of pepper. Finally, add in your bay leaf. Give everything a good stir, and you're going to cover that and let that cook for at least 2 hours on very low heat. You can keep your lid very slightly ajar. It will help your liquid to get really thick very quickly. After about 2 hours, your stew should be ready. Your gravy should have really thickened up quite well, and your meat should be very soft. All that slow cooking would make your stew get a really rich flavor with a lot of depth. The tomatoes will help give it a slight sweetness that you'll barely notice, but you can see that the meat has cooked really well and that it's almost falling apart just using a fork. Needless to say, this will pair very well with some creamy mash, which is exactly what I recommend that you do. So add some mash to a plate and really big spoonful of your stew and enjoy. This was my recipe for homemade traditional lamb stew.